May ibang malanda yung aming karapsat. Father Mike, thank you for inviting me here. May I ask, who among us here cannot understand Ilocano? Pwede ba? Oh, madami mga Ilocano. You may not understand Ilocano, but I know your hearts belong to the Ilocanos. Thank you. Karapsat, anya din na isang sangayan nga tulugading dagiti Ilocano. What is the unique quality of Ilocanos? Sige, imang karon. May sanga na isang sangayan. Kurikot daw. Hindi sa Ilocano mas pwedeng nagsabi ng kurikot, lumayo, umalis sa lipunan na ito. Tinay sa sangayan nga tulugading Ilocano naragsak. Joyful. And the very reason at the theory ako nga di naganti banda nga Ilocos, kapag naging Espanyol, Pino the root word of Ilocos? Loco. Loco. Loco Spanish means crazy. The Spanish thought that we were crazy because in the midst of difficulties in life, we are still joyful. They don't know how to be an Ilocano. That's why they are joyful. Amoy yung karapsat, gaputa ti Ilocano maragparabor, iso nga naragsatay. Amoy yung hindi tumawag ni Tita Ophel, mga about 4 weeks ago, or not a long time ago, imbaga na niya, Father Aris, please don't fail me. Pwede bang, can you be the one to officiate the Ilocano Mass? And I was quiet, and immediately she told me, Father, please take it, because the one assigned to give you the stipend is not a full-blooded Ilocano. It's not all about the stipend. She told me, she's not FBI, full-blooded Ilocano. She told me, Father, she is a GI, Galante Ilocano. Then I realized there are two kinds of Ilocanos. The one who is, I would not want to say it, but the one who is galante. And the galante is genuine. A genuine Ilocano is a generous Ilocano. GI, not FBI. Full-blooded Ilocano. Now I ask the Ilocanos here, who are you? Are you a GI or an FBI? And you know very well that Jesus is an Ilocano because He is so generous. Ilocanos who are not generous are not genuine. They are fake. And I think this is what the readings of today is telling us. It speaks about generosity. And generosity makes God genuine. Why is God the true God? Because He is generous. And why are we true human beings? Because we are generous. What defines genuineness is generosity. And in the first reading of today, very interesting, because our common way of understanding of a generous person is the one who gives. No, not all people who give are generous. In the first reading of today, very short, from the second book of Kings, there was a man who baked something fresh from the first fruit of barley. And this because if the first fruit, I remember back in Ilocos, the first harvest would be given to the priests because that's the best. That's so fresh. And so this man in the first reading, he gave it to Elisha, the man of God. And Elisha, being the prophet, the man of God, as a recipient can be generous. Think about the change of perspective. Because in the first reading, generosity is not coming from the one giving, but generosity is coming from the one receiving. For even if we are just a recipient, we can be generous by not being selfish. And so the man, as he gave this offering to Elisha, Elisha said, give this gift to the people. Because God said, if I give it, there will be left over. Generosity is not only on the side of the giver. Not all people who give are generous. Generosity can also come from the side of the recipient. If we receive without ego, selflessly, that which comes from the other, and think of the other first before receiving, that can be a generous receiver. Hello? Generosity in the first reading, therefore, removes all selfishness. You cannot be generous and be selfish at the same time. You cannot give and think of yourself at the same time. If you give and you're expecting something in return, you are not generous. You cannot give in a position of power. I am giving because I know when I give, people will recognize me. Because when I give, I am standing, and the one I am giving to is just begging to me. That's not generosity. Generosity removes all selfishness, so that when you give, please include that ego in giving. So that when you give and the ego is not there, nothing sucks you. And so in giving, it authenticates God, because the true giver or the generous receiver is someone without an ego. Be careful to receive gifts from people who are selfish. And be careful to give something to people who are equally selfish. Your giving will not make any difference at all. That's why the first act of generosity in the first reading is very clear. Generosity is removing the ego. It is pulverizing the destruction, the erosion of the ego. Because when we give, we become selfless. If you give and your giving makes you selfish, you better not give. That's the first reading of today. Ilocanos are selfless givers. That makes us authentic. Is it not? Amen? Amen. The second reading of today, taken from the letter of St. Paul, very interesting as well, talking about generosity. St. Paul was already in prison. And we think that people who are in prison, who are powerless, who are poor, they cannot give anymore. But St. Paul was still giving in spite of his being in prison. And in fact, in his giving, he always talks about one with the Lord. Most often, not all givers are generous. Not all our giving are good. If it is not from the Lord or with the Lord, we forfeit the benefit of generous giver. When we give, let our giving be a fruit of our prayer. I give because the Lord wants me to give. I give because I have received so much from the Lord, and because I know I received so much from the Lord, I do not keep these gifts, but I share these gifts. So that our giving makes us channels of praises, and we do not take control of it. That makes us, in the second reading, what authenticates a generous giver? Humility, gentleness, patience, and forbearance. 4 qualities. If you are claiming to be generous and you are not, you are proud, St. Paul would say, no, you are not generous. If you are claiming to be generous and you are so impatient with the result, no, you are not generous. For real generosity, like the Lord, bears fruit. And the fruit of this, in St. Paul's second reading, talks about humility. That's why even if you are not recognized in the church, give. You are not going to the church because the priest did not recognize you. During the program, your name was not mentioned. Don't do that. Because our reaction will only validate our real color. Generosity makes us humble, gentle. In Ilocano, ang sabi niya, naema. Patient and bearing one another. That's why for Saint Ignatius of Loyola, the feast we will be celebrating, this feast day we will be celebrating on Tuesday, 31st of July. His prayer is, Lord, teach me to be generous. Because it is only God who can teach us to be generous. Yes. When you look at the cross, when he had nothing to give anymore, he was still giving. That's generosity. Humility, kenosis, patience, forbearance. Amen.
Amen.
First reading, the generous receiver. The second reading, the humble, the patient giver. And in the gospel of today, we marvel at the multiplication of the loaves. In the needs of the crowd, there was one insignificant part of the crowd, a boy. How can you notice a boy in the midst of 5,000 men? Women were not even noticed. Now a boy having 5 loaves and 2 fish. Poor boy. But he was noticed. But in spite of him being noticed, immediately Andrew said, but what good is this for a crowd? For a person who don't believe in God, for a person who is not generous by heart, we always underestimate the power of small things. No matter how small the things are, if Andrew got it and bring it to Jesus, and Jesus raised the bread, gave thanks, and asked this to be distributed to the people. And after they had their fill, they gathered the leftover, and they found 12 wicker baskets. 12 wicker baskets. And we know very well that these 12 wicker baskets represent now the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 apostles, which became the pillar of the church. Mind you, brothers and sisters, the pillars of the church, the foundation of the church, were mere left over. Had we known that all our leftovers, which were wasted, can become like the church, we would not have wasted a lot. You know what is so sorry when I came to the U.S. is that there are so many wastes because there are so many leftovers. We don't know what to do with leftovers. You know, I remember now my mom. Please pray for my mom. She is seriously ill. And in growing up, you know, I don't know if this is something very motherly. She always likes to eat first the leftover. And sometimes we are angry at her precisely because we have newly cooked food. But you know, like for example, lunch, we have a lot of food, newly cooked, but then she would always take first the egg, which was already cooked this morning. And we were telling her, come on, just eat the newly cooked food. And literally we would be hiding leftovers or we will throw it to the dogs just so that our mom would not take it. And really, she would still, the next meal she would still take the leftover. And when I was reflecting on this gospel and the readings of the day, I realized, how can my mom throw away the leftover? For she was the youngest of 8 children coming from a humble family. For I knew she was able to survive life because of those unthrown leftovers. And I realized, having 10 children who have all good appetites, how can she not appreciate leftover? And you know, I am the youngest in the family. And being the 10 of my brothers and sisters, They used to call me a leftover. In Ilocano, the latak. And now I know why my mom loves me so much. And I know why God loves the leftover. Because in the leftover, it is right there at the leftover when the human eye could not see beauty, or when human eye can see only the possibility of being spoiled. It is there at the leftover that God looks at it as a possible raw material for the multiplication of the loaves. Brothers and sisters, don't underestimate things which we think no value at all. There, God asks us to go and recognize God there for throwing the leftover